Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdy, the show where we take various story arcs and events from current comics and we cover them. I'm your host, Obi-Wan Jabroni. Now, today's story, we are to be covering Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters, Chapter 2. Now, if you haven't already watched our first two War of the Bounty Hunter videos, make sure to go see them to check out the preludes and Chapter 1 for this story. Now, Chapter 2 consists of 5 issues. With that, let's start talking nerdy. Now, first up, we have Star Wars number 15, written by Charles Soule, with art by Raymond Rosanos, and colors by Rochelle Rosenberg. Chapter 2, Part 1, Friends and Enemies. Princess Leia leads a team on a dangerous mission to rescue Han Solo from Crimson Dawn, who stole Solo from the bounty hunter Boba Fett. Meanwhile, Luke Skywalker is desperate to find his path as a Jedi after Darth Vader revealed that he is Luke's father. Now Luke embarks on his own rescue mission with Starlight Squadron. Now, we open up out in space with the Rebel fleet, and Luke is running an escort mission with the 4th and 7th Divisions before he joins up with Leia, Lando, and Chewie on Jakku to find Han. Now, they travel to Abdalis in the Outer Rim, and they start to get a choppy message from the planet's surface. And they're able to clean it up some with their ships and discover it's a distress call from the 11th Rebel Division that's being attacked by the Empire down below. Now, Luke and Starlight Squadron swoop into the atmosphere and start to attack TIE fighters. And while they're doing that, the ground forces send Luke data about a volcanic point on the ground directly under the Star Destroyer that's above. And before Luke can respond, this destroyer fires its orbital cannons at the command post and destroys it on the surface. And Luke tells his squad to watch his back as he makes attack run on this volcanic point. He goes in for the shot, and he starts to get memory flashes of Han saving him and Vader on his tail during the assault and the shot on the first Death Star in New Hope. Now, he takes his shot, and he barely misses it, and Wedge comes in behind him on the same run, takes the shot, and he hits it dead on. They hurry, and they all pull up and fly away just as quick as they can. And as they do, the volcano begins to erupt, slamming into the bottom of the Star Destroyer and starting to melting its hull. Now, with the destroyer destroyed, the Rebel 11th Division starts to easily mop up the remaining Imperials on the planet and the TIE fighters in the atmosphere. Now, as they pull up and they enter back into space to help mop up, a voice comes over comms thanking them and telling them to get back into the fight. And it's revealed that they had just saved the leader of the entire rebellion, Mon Mothma. And they're all excited, and they easily wrap up everything else. And Luke tells the squad that since it's under control now, that he was going to go join Leia and the others on Jakku. Now, at this point, we switch to the surface of Jakku, and Luke calls Leia on the comms to tell her that he's on his way, and that he thinks that and he thinks and has a feeling that Vader will be there, and he is also going after them. And that ends this first issue. Taking us to Dr. Aphra number 12, written by Alyssa Wong, with art by Mingkoi Zhang, and colors by Rochelle Rosenberg. Chapter 2, Part 2, Party Tricks. Rogue archaeologist Dr. Aphra and smuggler Sana Staros are working for Domina Teague. The job? Infiltrate the most dangerous place in the galaxy. An auction hosted by a resurgent crime syndicate, Crimson Dawn. Meanwhile, Just Lucky and ROLU's old member has betrayed the Six Kin Syndicate, and they've been tasked with assassinating him right under Crimson Dawn's nose. With all these crime syndicates and gangsters gathered in one place, what could possibly go wrong? Now, we open at the Crimson Dawn party on Jakara. Afra and Staros are eating and scoping out the party guests, and they see delegates from almost all Underworld major party players. We see Jabba and the Hutt Cartel, the Black Suns, the Unbroken Clans, the Sixkins, and the Empire themselves represented by Administrator Moore. Now, Staros says they all want Afra dead, but at least they are distracted by the party and the auction for Solo. And Afra smiles and says she can work with distracted. And she goes over to the Black Sun delegate. And she fakes a stumble and spills her drink all over the front of the delegate's dress. And as she stammers and wipes at the dress, she slips a hand onto the back of the delegate's necklace and puts something on it. Now, the delegate is absolutely pissed and storms off, making threats that the Black Sun will not be happy about this, and they will go after her. Now, Staros approaches Afra after this and tells her that the necklace, and Afra tells her that the necklace was made from data crystals, and she put a splice on them. And across the room, we see Just Lucky and Arioli Yu. And they're scoping out as well, and they see their target and former trainer, and they start to track him through the party. Now, back over at the bar, Afra and Staros are watching the party, and they're tracking their splice on the necklace, the delegate's necklace. When a hooded man grabs Afra, turns her around, and says he knows who she is. She smiles and says, I have watched many Clone Wars holos, and I know what you are from the sound of your voice. You're an old clone soldier. He shakes his head and denies it, and he says that he's someone that needs to help, and she needs to help him, or he will tell Crimson Dawn that she's here. And he says he needs a diversion when he triggers a comm signal to her, and he gives her a comm. Now, before they can continue this conversation, seconds later, Kira takes the stage and starts the bidding at 100,000 credits for Han Solo's frozen body. Now, while the bidding is starting, Lucky and Orioli spot their mark, and they leave the room and go to confront him in the hallway that they're following him down. Now, they follow him and turn a corner to find him waiting with his weapon out for them. And he tells them he wants to talk, but they say no and instantly start attacking him. Now, back at the auction, while they're in the hallway fighting, the bid wars rage on until Jabba wins the bid at 1 million credits. Kira starts to congratulate him when Vader enters the room saying Solo belongs to me. And Afra sees him and starts freaking out and starts to struggle to breathe, saying, I'm dead if he sees me, Sana. And she starts to run, falling, dropping the comm as Vader turns to see what all the commotion is, ending this issue. Leading us to War of the Bounty Hunters #2, written by Charles Soule, with art by Luke Ross, and colors by Niraj Menon. Chapter 2, Part 3, The Scoundrel's Ball. Boba Fett has claimed the bounty of notorious smuggler and rebel officer Han Solo. But Solo was stolen from Fett on Nar Shaddaa by Crimson Dawn. Now, Crimson Dawn seeks to offer Solo up to the highest bidder of the galactic underworld, but not if Fett has anything to say about it. Now, we open at the party on Jakara, and Kira is standing on her balcony watching over the party and smiling as all her guests start to mingle. Outside, though, Boba has just landed. He's scouting out the party entrance, and he sees 3 cloaked figures walking towards the party. He goes over and starts to attack them and says he will need their invitation and one of their cloaks. And he takes out all 3 with ease. While he's doing that, a grapple line shoots out from the side somewhere and wraps him up. And we see Bosk start to pull the line towards him, saying, Jabba has questions for you, Boba. And at that point, Boba activates his flamethrower, causing the snow around him to melt and block Bosk's view with steam. And while this is happening, he quickly cuts the line and shoots a missile at the ship behind Bosk, blowing it up. And as the smoke starts to clear, Boba walks over to the now legless Bosk and tells him that Bosk is now a message to others saying, don't try to stop me or come after me. And he ties the grapple line around Bosk and a rock and leaves him there with the other ships. Now, later on, inside, Boba has just approached Afra and told them about the distraction and gave them the comm as we seen in the last issue when the bidding starts. Now, as the bidding starts, he slips away into the shadows and puts his armor back on. And he starts to head back to the party and turns a corner where he comes face to face with Leia, Chewie, and Lando. Lando tells him it's rude to crash a party, but before he can respond, they are interrupted by a loud no. Solo comes with me. And they turn to see Vader has entered the room, and Boba mutters under his breath, we will see, Vader, we will see. And that ends this issue. Taking us to Darth Vader number 14, written by Greg Pak, art by Rafael Encino, and colors by Jason Keith. Chapter 2, Part 4, The Blade Behind the Curtain. After Exegol, Darth Vader understood the true might of the Emperor's power. Vader must destroy Luke Skywalker and the one threat to his restored position. But other schemes in the shadows and the dangerous Crimson Dawn Syndicate rise to challenge the galactic power structure. Vader brought Boku the Hutt to heel and foiled an assassination attempt by IG-88, who hired the deadly droid to kill Darth Vader. Now, we open on Coruscant a few weeks ago, and the Emperor approaches the Umboran Administrator Moore and tells her that Vader has been restored from his attack on Exegol. And she lowers her head and says, you sent me to destroy Vader, and I failed you. Palpatine looks up and laughs and says, of course you failed, and he starts to walk away, still laughing. And at this point, we get a montage of panels showing Moore set up the stage and study Vader's schematics so that she can send IG-88 after him, as we seen in issue 13. Now, at this point, we switch to the Temple Gardens now instead of weeks ago. IG-88 approaches the Umbaran Council to tell them that he failed to kill Vader as well. And while they're talking, Vader comes out of nowhere and cuts IG-88 in half. The council instantly turns and starts to run from him. They get inside, and Moore turns and pushes a button on a datapad and tries to freeze Vader's armor again, but it don't work, and he proceeds to slaughter them all except for Administrator Moore. She's cowering on the ground, and she tells him that she can save him from the Emperor replacing him with Skywalker. And she gets up and crosses the room, saying that Solo is the key to finding him. And she pulls out the Crimson Dawn invitation and tells Vader about the party and about Solo being sold. Now, at this point, we switch to the party on Jakara. The bidding is going on inside, but outside Vader shows up and starts killing all the outside guards. And he enters the party, saying, no, Solo belongs to me. And that ends this issue. Taking us to our final issue, Bounty Hunters number 15. Written by Ethan Sachs, with art by Paolo Vanelli, and colors by Arif Prianto. Chapter 2, Part 5, The Gathering. Jabba the Hutt has put a bounty on Boba Fett's head. Valance and Dengar are determined to find Fett first. Valance is desperate to save his old friend Han Solo, who was in the hands of Crimson Dawn, and Dengar has an agenda of his own. Meanwhile, Tonga and Lasha found the Mourner's Whale Syndicate decimated by Crimson Dawn. Tonga won't rest until the heir of the Mourner's Whale and Unbroken clan is safe. On Nar Shaddaa, Valance was wounded by the Crimson Dawn assassin Deathstick. Dengar and Valance managed to narrowly escape, but time is running out to find Han and Fett. Now, we open on Corellia at the Unbroken Clan safe house. And one of the grunts comes in and he tells Tonga that someone has breached the entrance as they start running down a hall. And they enter a room at the end to find the grunt, and the grunt in the front is killed as soon as he walks through the doorway. And we see the assassin Deathstick waiting and sipping on some spiced wine sitting on a desk. Tonga instantly kills her other grunt, and Deathstick asks her why. And she says he was the one who suggested the safe house, so either he's stupid or he betrayed us, and neither are acceptable to the Unbroken clans. Deathstick introduces herself and gives Tonga a Crimson Dawn invitation. Now, at this point, we switch to Nar Shaddaa spaceport. We find Valance and Dengar talking, and we learn they can't leave in their own ship because it's being watched by Crimson Dawn. So they decide to take a 2-day public shuttle to travel to Canto Blight to a contact that Dengar knows. Now, we switch yet again to Nar Kajani's fighting pits, and Tonga and Losha are watching the fights, and we learn that they're here to recruit some muscle. Now, down in the pit, we see a giant Zabrak named Rodrigo Battle, and a skinny human named Tasha Leech that are about to fight. Tonga says that Tasu is the one who they're here for, and as the battle starts, Tashu is getting pounded by Rodrigo until he quickly moves between his legs and cuts the back of Rango's knees. And as Rodrigo falls, Tasu cuts off his hand and puts the blade up to Rodrigo's throat, winning the brawl. Sorry. Now, we go to backstage at the pits, and Tonga approaches Tasu and tells him they need his help for a job. And he says he's ready for a real challenge and agrees to help with no questions asked. Now, we switch yet again to Canto Blight. Now, Valance and Dengar have arrived in the shuttle, and Dengar tells Valance to please be quiet and not to punch the informant this time. It will get them killed. And they are led to a room to meet the leader of the Six Kin clans, Win Delphus. And we learn from Win that Dengar owes the Six Kin money, and he tells them he's real close to getting it from getting Boba, and he will pay them back with the reward that he gets from Jabba the Hutt. And Win says that they have no hope against Boba, let alone Crimson Dawn, and he tells his guards to kill them both. And Valance hurries and steps forward, saying, "Wait, help us get to the party, and we can make their plans more difficult, or we will die. Either way, the Six Kin will win this situation." And Win looks around and thinks on it for a moment, but he agrees and tells them to take Dengar's ship and go stir up some trouble for him. And we switch yet again to the Grand Floating Sanctuary somewhere in deep space. And we see Tonga, Lasha, and Tasu arrive to recruit the next member of their team. Now, they get there and they approach a depressed and beaten down member called Zuckuss, the bounty hunter, as we met earlier in the Preludes and in Chapter 1 of this story. And he says he had a partner once, and he was killed by Boba Fett, and now he hides here to hide his pain and to envy it. And Tonga says she's on a mission to save someone very dear to her, and she needs the greatest fireman in the galaxy, and asks if he's done feeling sorry for himself yet. He looks up and says, Zuckuss is in. Now, we switch one more time, last time, to Canto Blight. And Valance and Dengar are approaching the ship, and they are attacked out of nowhere by the assassin Deathstick again. And she starts whooping on their asses with ease, and they can't even get a hit in on her. And during the fight, she kicks Valance off the edge of the platform, and he quickly grapples the edge and swings through a window below, and rushes back up the stairs and back onto the landing platform to find Dengar alive, but Deathstick is gone. And Dengar says she got a comms call and ran off quickly. But he smiles and shows Valance a party invitation and says he swiped it during the fight and he knows where to find Solo. And that ends Chapter 2 of War of the Bounty Hunters. I hope you all enjoyed the video this week. Be sure to join us next week, where we cover the first half of the 8-part event, Infinite Destinies 1 through 4. Thanks for watching this week. Remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Feedback is always welcome. You can also find and follow us on the Jabroni Nerd Network Facebook page and on Twitter at Jabroni Network. Until next week, guys, keep talking nerdy.